So Jesus can't possibly come back any single day now. It's impossible because you have to see fakery first. And the Antichrist, he's nobody. It's not just one person. Many Antichrists are in the world. Even Jesus told him back then that somewhere along the lines, I'm paraphrasing it, there are, as you've heard, that the Antichrist will come in the world, but now, even that, you know, now that there's already many in the world. There's many in the world because the Antichrist is just anything against Christ, which is, now remember, he has to be a Jew, and he has to be a Syrian or something like that. Did it say a real Jew or a fake Jew? Because those who say they are Jews and are not, well, they are that of the Antichrist. It's a group. It's not one person. It's not one singular person. It's a group, the Antichrist. Which means the other group, it's not one singular person. It's a group. It's the exact opposite. It's the anti-Satans. So you got the anti-Satans and the Antichrist. It's groups of people. And then you got those people in between that they don't know the depths of Satan. They don't have this doctrine. It's because they just never came across the Word of God. They never heard much about the Bible. So they're going to die in hell forever? These are the things that people have been stretching out and trying to figure out. And who's the Antichrist going to be? It's Obama. Yeah, he's absolutely, he's the Antichrist. He is one of them, but he's an actor just like everybody else. They're all acting out this damn role. Can't tell what I don't, I mean, I do get it. I do understand it because it takes time to understand. I guess what it is, when you finally figure something out, it's like, why couldn't I figure that out before? And then you start thinking, well, why can't people figure it out? And you gotta remember, well, it took you time to figure it out. So you can't expect people to understand it. That my main thing, right, about this, about the Bible, is they are playing out the end times prophecy. They, meaning them, those people, those leaders of the world, they're playing it out. And they're using Obama as a diversion. And they'll also use Trump as a diversion. Well, maybe he's the Antichrist. Where's he going to be at? What's he going to look like? Well, just turn on YouTube, right? Go to just about every channel on YouTube. You'll see an Antichrist. And then look at other channels and, well, you'll see the anti-Satans. And you can kind of tell. It's not really that hard to figure out. It's just about time. Time has to go by in order to figure things out. So it's not the difficulty of it figuring out, it's just the time. When it's time to know, then that's when you'll know. So for when people say Christ can come any minute now, well, technically, yes, you are correct that Bible verse will be fulfilled. Not that we're gonna be taken up into the air. Because, well, hopefully we'll see a bunch of clothes setting up all over the place from the Local Hero program. Because it's like, think about how, sorry. Think about how, so the people that know the stalking program, think about how not many people know about it. So when they're placed all throughout the world, if that's even the case, if they're even throughout the world, I know it's definitely in America. But anyway, if they're placed everywhere and they get the cue, you know, all the Salvation Army clothes and whatnot, they have it all set up, and they have drop clothes everywhere, and that's one way of the media trying to sell us the fact that a rapture must have happened, and Jesus Christ has come, and well, that means that everybody that's left is from Satan and Satan's children, and you're gonna have to live on this world for the next 1,000 years. But what are you guys gonna do? You might as well get in line to get the market to chip over here, because you're not gonna be able to eat or drink or whatever, and you're gonna die. Like, that's a fearful thing of dying. So it's all played out to divert your attention from the actual truth. Every story has another story that goes deep into another lie of another story. And the biggest lie of them all is the fact that there's going to be one person that rises up in the devil's form as an antichrist, as the antichrist. And if it's anybody on TV, well, you know it's a freaking actor. Christ already came to the world. He already died. He was already resurrected, and then he already ascended into heaven. When he comes back this time, it's going to be a little different. Because the first time around in Revelations, well, that was the first resurrection. That resurrection already seemed to have happened to 144,000 people. Their spirits, their souls, the Spirit was poured out on those 144,000. Let's just say that. Let's just say, because you were already picked from the foundations of the world, God already knew the outcome of everything. That's why he wrote the scripts. So because he already knew the outcome, he already knew that from the womb, you were his child. It's just a matter of when was the Spirit poured out on you. And the Spirit was poured out on 144,000, just about a little over 7 years ago. Just my opinion. That, you know, a lot of people don't like to hear it or believe it, but, you know, whatever. It's just, everybody has their theory as to what, who, where, when, and why. All I know is this, besides the other stuff, is that Jesus Christ cannot possibly show up in 10 minutes. There's no way. He can't show up tomorrow or next 3 days from now, 4, 5, 6 days. Now, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there. 10 at the latest. It's the only time that he can possibly return, but he's not returning. I don't believe he's stepping a foot on earth. I've never believed that from the beginning. Just like, and this was 7 years ago, 8 years ago. 9, 10 years ago, when I started hearing about the judgment, the warning of judgment, and listening to someone who explained the scriptures a little bit better than anybody that I've ever heard, and that's Harold Camping. And his demeanor and his spirit and everything about him had always passed the test with me. Always passed the test. I never got a creepy vibe, never got a bad vibe, never got a lying vibe, never had a question about anything except for one headlighted newer vehicles that always seem to just have that one headlight out. It's just crazy how they don't make headlights very well these days, do they? Or taillights. Especially if they're in new vehicles and they're not in. It's just crazy. So back then, when he would talk about Christ returning, well, we thought we were going to be raptured up out of here, and well, our souls were. That's the only thing. Your souls were raptured, the first resurrection, in my opinion, and the second resurrection is the last one. So when Christ was being announced that he was on his way before May 21st, 2011, that was like John the Baptist announcing that Christ is coming. The first time was literal, the second time is spiritual. So when you're looking for Christ to return any day now, well, it's not going to happen. And if you're looking for an Antichrist to pop up at it, it's not going to happen. Because the Antichrist is the system, it's the money, it's the New World Order, it's everybody against Christ. It's a group of people. A group. Big group. And when Christ returns for the first time of the deception era that's coming up, when he returns then, that's when he's going to get the beginning of the whole entire world collapsing and crashing, with, you know, the news is going to tell us that God's destroying the world, and that's his second coming, even though it's a deception. The first coming already passed by. That's why we had 7 years to think about it. And then we're getting towards the very end here. Now people are waking up. The tribulation saints, they're the ones that are waking up. That's why everybody's seeing this stuff that's happening. And that's why a lot of people say now's the beginning of sorrows, because we're seeing the wars and rumors of wars and peace talks. And yeah, it's the beginning, but what? The very beginning? The beginning, where's the ending at? Like, it's never specific. People just assume that's the beginning of sorrows. A lot of people add the very beginning to their own words, which isn't in the Bible. Well, not that I know of. So that when they say the beginning of sorrows, well, yeah, it's the beginning of sorrows. It's the beginning of it. When you say the very beginning, it sounds like we have 7 years to go. That's my whole point. He's coming as a thief in the night. Okay? And when you know when the thief would come, well, you wouldn't have had your house to be suffered up, right? And the similarities of the gang stalkers is that very same thing. They are thieves. And if you don't know when that thief is coming, you're going to have your house suffered to be broken into. And what the thieves do is they steal your, well, they violate your privacy, number one. So they're stealing your privacy. They can come in your house and they can steal stuff too. I mean, literally, the thief will come. So when you know when the thief would come, which is literally the moment you leave your house and nobody's home and you're a target, the thief is going to come to your house. But when you know that that thief is going to come, guess what? You're not going to have your house to be suffered up, because you know the second you leave your freaking house, those dirty ass thieves are going to come strolling in your house. How do they come strolling in your house, Robin? You have locks and alarms. Well, let's see. If you have an alarm with, say, ADT, for instance, well, they can just push the button, because ADT's in on it too. Because ADT is a worldwide corporation which is owned by the elite. So they have their masters that just push this button that shuts the alarm off so they can get into your house. But how do they get in your house when they don't have the key? Well, they hire locksmiths and, you know, they have carpenters and plumbers, and they got everybody. They have every single type of job out there they have. So when Trump says that America's prosperous because of all the jobs, well, yeah, secret jobs. But some of those people are taking a risk of their life, because how do they truly know that somebody isn't home? How do you truly know when somebody isn't home? I wouldn't chance it if I was one of those people. I'd be worried stepping in somebody's house, especially after they know that you've stepped into their house, and you try it again when they're not home, or maybe it just seems like they're not home. So that is parallel with Christ comes as a thief in the night. I'm just saying this is what they're playing out. The end times prophecy. They're playing out this, it seems like this 5-month period where the scorpions are given power to hurt men that don't have the seal of God in their forehead for 5 months, as they think that we don't have the seal of God in our forehead. So they think that they're tormenting us with their king over them, Apollyon. Not so. That part already happened after May 21st, 2011, up until October 21st, 2011. That 5-month period, when men were seeking death and they couldn't find it, they had no clue that they were being stung by scorpions, just spiritually meaning, because they were mocking. They were continually scoffing all the way up for this 5-month period. Oh yeah, sure. You said the rapture's going to happen on May 21st. What happened, Harold? Nothing. And then all the trolls that were calling in for the next 5 months. You guys are being stung constantly by the scorpions because you were seeking death. You continued to go to church when the church age was over. Christ is not saving in the church again. So you're seeking to lose your life in Christ, but you couldn't because death fled from you. But the conspiracy is, no, that means that the AI, when you upload your brain into a computer, right? Then when you're tired of being a robotoid, then you want to scrape your skin off because you want to die. But you can't find death because it'll flee from you because you're now a robot. Yeah, that makes freaking sense also. So that's the conspiracy side of it. And the world playing the Bible's prophecy out is these days now. Because they're given power to hurt men, but not to kill them. See, most of the stalkers don't even know what they're doing. A lot of them, they even hire kids. It's ironically enough, I've seen that. But when you're hired to do that job, well, you can't kill the person, right? You can hurt them. You can hurt their feelings. You can hurt their privacy. You can slander their name. You can hurt them in that way. I'm not talking about just getting punched in the face all the time. No, it's, again, the world is 7 years behind with everything, and that's what I see. That's what I see unfold. So when people say the Bible's prophecy is being fulfilled right in front of our eyes, and God is doing amazing things, the only thing God is doing is telling Satan, yo, go do your job. Go create the here. I'll give your dominions the ability to, the thought of how to create these cloud makers and the rain system and simulators and sun simulators and moon and the holographic image and everything. Some of your miracle signs and wonders in heavens. So you can deceive everybody that way. The people that don't listen to people's warning that's coming from God, they will fear, and their hearts will fail in the end because they weren't listening. So that's the punishment. It's a 7 to 10 day punishment that you quite will possibly die of a heart attack of fear, or you will just start praying to God, the one that you never prayed to before. And that's going to happen to billions of people that have no clue about anything that's going on. It's just they're going to see this themselves, and they're going to fear God, and they're going to start praying, and they'll become saved. I mean, saved, not going to hell and burning for an eternity, however you want to look at it. And but it's the ones that are involved. You guys are going to see also, because when it's time to come back and round up the true believers, well, they're not going to be found. And the reason they're not going to be found is because, well, God's going to take them. And you might see their dead bodies laying in the streets for 3.5 days. You just might see that, because God already took the spirit, and those bodies won't be suffered to be put in graves. So that's kind of where they are playing out the end times prophecy with these last 5 months. It's looking like, I pray to God that it's the last 5 months, is they're just mimicking the Bible, and they're spiritually blind, and they're 7 years behind.